Go in here and give myself a chat room like I always do and give myself a thumbs up. We getting down to the nitty gritty now. Getting down to the real nitty gritty. Get a sound check and we'll be on our way. Go in here and give myself a... There we are. And let's watch this guy here. He said one of the secrets is to watch as many. I like people to explain their looping pedal, their techniques and their good and bad. I have the Ditto looper right down here on the floor in front of me. And well, let's just get started. Let's get right into it here. We're going to watch this guy. He's going to explain, and we're going to move on from there. I figured it out. I'm running. Well, let's just go as we go. As we go. As I wonder, as I wonder.
This video is about how to become a live looping artist. Step number 1, look at Ed Sheeran live looping.
This one doesn't even have an input.
And you're done. That's it.
Hold on, I messed up.
Actually, it's actually
I messed up. Hold on.
You would think. How was that setup? All the pedals I use at my live looping shows, I didn't order all of them at once and then figure out how to connect everything.
Oh.
It was actually a very gradual process.
My switcher's not working.
Just with my guitar connected into a mixer, into a couple speakers. I didn't even have speaker stands. I didn't even have speakers. I had one speaker. And I would plug in my guitar and my microphone, and that's simple. However, I had a friend in Mexico who was live looping. At his shows, he would connect his microphone to the looper and his guitar, and he would loop bird sounds and different things, maybe a little beatboxing. And I was blown away that you could sound like more just with using a device that...
Hold on, let me give myself another sound check. I didn't have everything hooked up.
And he would loop bird sounds and different things.
That's good.
Repeats whatever you record into it. So I finally bought my first loop station, and I remember I didn't practice. I just took it directly to the gig and I played with it at the gig. I already knew that the main key to live looping is to press the pedal to start recording on 1 and then press it again exactly on beat 1. The problem with some loop stations is that if you press a little late or a little early, then your loop sounds really funky, you know, not in a good way.
Funky.
By the way, some loop stations have the ability to set them up in a way that you don't have to press it right on beat 1. You can press a little early and it will still quantize and will know to start on beat 1. And it's the same for stopping.
One missing here.
I go to beat 1 and it will know to keep recording until the end of that measure. That's very handy for us guitarists that require the hands to play the guitar, so you cannot always press on 1. By pressing before 1, I can start playing on beat 1. For this, you will require to use a click. Some people use headphones when they live loop. In my case, because I interact with the crowd, I like to have a small speaker, and I place that in front of me. I can only hear the click. Whoever is
Something's
at the
missing
gig
here.
near me will be able to hear a little bit of the click. My advice...
Hold on, let me try to open up another window here.
Buy your loop station and do it simple. Don't buy a bunch of effects. If you're just starting out, start simple like I did. Plug in your guitar, maybe your voice if you want to, because most loop stations have at least 2 inputs to record a couple chords and jam to it. And that's the best way to start getting the basic of live looping. Eventually, you will want to enhance...
I think I got it now.
...performing act. Maybe not for the crowd, but just for you. Maybe you want to have more fun with using your loop station, and that's when
okay, we good.
Other effects.
One more missing here.
Friends have an Altec pedal. You get to play with your guitar a sound.
Got to set one more screen, y'all, and we'll be up and running.
Or you can maybe buy some percussion, like I did, and you can loop your shaker, you can loop your guido or clave, whatever percussion you use. Bongo.
Okay.
You can add a reverb pedal to your chain. In my case, for Spanish guitar, it's a must. But my point here is that you start looping very simple, just guitar and voice, and eventually you add more things to your chain, to your pedal board. Pedal board is a key to live looping, in my opinion. I used my loop station with a pedal board for a while. Every time I would get a new pedal, I would lay it on the floor next to the loop station. And then every time I would step on one of those pedals, it would slide down, especially if I'm at a restaurant with a greasy floor. So next time I try to tap the loop station to start or stop the loop, I would miss it because the pedal was now like where the people are dining. So the day I finally got a pedal board, it was perfect because I got to have everything in one place. You have a power supply underneath and you can easily and quickly reach everything, and when you're done, put it all together in a hard shell case. That's another key.
You can
Some
make
people
your
get
own-
the
you can
soft
make a hard
covers
shell
for
case.
their pedal boards. Eventually
cardboard
stuff
or-
is gonna sit on top and it will get damaged. What makes my live looping show special, if you wanna call it that, I like to think it's special, otherwise I would be doing something else. What makes it special is that I use a Godin guitar from Canada, which has a synthesizer access. So I can use a synthesizer pedal. I use a Roland GR20. Thanks to connecting a synthesizer to my guitar, I can play any instrument, saxophone, xylophone, drums, percussion, any percussion. Instead of buying an octave pedal so I can play the bass with my guitar, or instead of buying a full set of congas and putting it next to me and recording that, it's very efficient for me to have every instrument I want available on my guitar, ready to be played and looped. It sounds like a full band.
Keyboard doesn't want to switch.
So why do I use the Boss RC505 as my looper of choice?
That's
Well,
another
this is
story,
just for
Danny.
now. The reason is because you can record whatever you play separately into 5 different tracks. I don't have to lay everything on top.
I'm using the Ditto. Let's find the Ditto. How to use the Ditto loop pedal. Okay, here's let me see if I can find my guy. 5 loop. It doesn't have too much on my pedal. There goes me. This guy look like he getting off here. He in the music store. Gone crazy. Okay, here's this only 8 minutes long.
Okay, this video is all about what you can create just with the Ditto X4 and some of its effects and some cool little tricks and tips to maybe make it a little more interesting. Just with a loop pedal, no effects pedals at all. Here we go. Super quickly before we get into this, I have been away on a tour, so some of you noticed that's why I haven't been posting nearly as much as normal, but I'm back, and here is this video back. Good to see you. Okay, so let's break down what's happening with just this Ditto X4 to get all those sounds happening at once in a looper. The example I'm using for this is Englishman in New York, a Sting and the Police song. So let's set it up and get to it. Oh wait, I kind of need headphones or I'm not going to hear the loop. That's better.
A proper signal flow for looping pedals.
So this is just laying down my basic groove to start with, and then this is why I get to Steve.
Thank you very much, Stephen Clements, for commissioning this. This is by no means intended to be the absolute objective be-all, end-all solution for everybody to use. This is just what I find useful in my own work, and because the way I use this stuff is a little idiosyncratic, I don't know how valuable this would be to anybody else, but Steve can ask me to talk about it, so I'm happy to talk about it. What we have here is probably the most bare bones rig in the most basic approach that I take, which is basically the Vox tone lamp, which is an amp modulator. This